The movie Apollo 13 was made directly based off of the real Apollo 13 failed lunar mission. On this third lunar landing mission, astronauts Jim Lovell, Fred Haise, and Jack Swigert were scheduled to land on the moon, and the flight seemed to be going just fine as they left Earth's orbit. However, there is an explosion just after this, and out of all the things that could have been damaged, it was the oxygen tank. Tensions rise as the three astronauts face a series of technical failures as they try to return home with the help of thousands of people back on Earth. The director, Ron Howard's main goal was to make this movie as realistic as possible, so there are not many major flaws compared to the historical reality, which is very impressive on his part. Ron Howard also decided to make his own set completely from scratch, like the command modules, spacecraft interiors, etc., even after NASA offered to use the real room of mission control. The spacesuits worn in the film were exact replicas of the real suits the astronauts wore in space. The suits also worked in the same way, with the helmet being the same shape, and even how the oxygen was pumped into them. Howard studied the real NASA dialogue with the three actors Tom Hanks, Bill Paxton, and Kevin Bacon to get an even more accurate feel of how the dialogue should be presented in the movie. It was pretty close, with one exception of the famous line, "Houston, we have a problem," being in the movie instead of the accurate, "Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here."
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
Howard decided to make this change because the real quote made it seem like the problem happened in the past rather than right then and there. In the movie and in the real mission, the original team was split apart, losing Ken Mattingly. An inaccuracy was that Mattingly played a big part in solving the power consumption issue at the end of the film.
I'm listening. So, reverse it. Reverse the flow and see if we can draw these 4 amps from the LEM batteries before we cut it loose.
During the real mission, Mattingly was just a part of several men working together to solve the problem, so he received a little more of a spotlight during the movie than in the real actual mission. A small inaccuracy was when Swigert is preparing to attach the lunar module, as a member of NASA says, "If Swigert can't dock this thing, we don't have a mission." This is technically incorrect because Lovell or Haise could have docked if Swigert was not able to, and him not being able to was never a concern in the first place. Capture. The family situation was also a bit different in the movie, most likely to just add some drama. For example, when they were there to say bye to the astronauts the night before launch, the astronauts had to stay a little bit of a distance away to ensure no last-minute illnesses.
Come here. Whoa, we can't go across that road. We don't want Daddy to get any of our germs and get sick in outer space, right?
Hey, boys.
Interestingly enough, the last manual burn of the lunar module in the movie lasted 39 seconds, but in real life it lasted only 19.
We're going to burn at 10% thrust for 39 seconds. Jack, you time us.
Got it.
Give us a count of the last 10 seconds up to 39, and let's not miss this.
The real Ken Mattingly was actually interviewed by NASA in 2001, where he shared some opinions on the movie and what he noticed wasn't exactly correct. He mentioned how in the movie, it seemed as if the lifeboat procedures were made on the spot and technicians at NASA just invented things then and there very quickly, but in reality, there was already a viable procedure to keep the 3 men in the module alive.
They are here. Use the moon's gravity, slingshot them around.
No, the LEM will not support 3 guys for that amount of time. We do an about face, we bring the guys right home right now.
The lifeboat procedures took place due to the lunar module being designed only to sustain 2 lives of men for a couple of days, rather than 3 men for 4 days. In the end, in both the real mission and the movie, the lifeboat procedures worked just well enough for the astronauts to return home safely. Although, on this journey they come across many conflicts, such as the module becoming extremely cold and filling with too much carbon dioxide, literally poisoning the astronauts with every breath. Mattingly says that the filter created in the movie on the spot wasn't exactly how they stopped the CO2.
The deadly CO2 gas is literally poisoning the astronauts with every breath in and out.
Heads up, heads up.
They used a vacuum and some bags in the command module to lower the levels in real life. Overall, the movie Apollo 13 was extremely similar to the real lunar landing mission. The history was about 90 to 95% accurate, and Ron Howard did a wonderful job simulating the events that occurred on these days of what NASA calls their most successful failure.